Oh baby, welcome in to NBA Now from Chat Sports, and with you as always, I'm your host, Jimmy Crowther, breaking down all the latest news and rumors around the league. And today we're back with some Dallas Mavericks news and rumors, and we're starting with the figure, the unicorn, Kristaps Porzingis. More drama going on with him. Now, the report is that his hand is just fine because there was some video of him after he got jumped in Latvia, in his hometown. And some people were thinking that his hand might have been injured in that bar fight in his hometown. Now, he returned to Dallas just the other day with his hand wrapped up in a black cast, some kind of black wrap, and people were speculating what was going on there. Turns out he's fine. He got evaluated by the Dallas Mavericks training staff, just some cuts and bruises. Kristaps Porzingis is going to be just fine, which is good because he's entering restricted free agency this summer, where the Dallas Mavericks are expected to offer him a max contract. So you can see what his deal is probably going to look like should he sign this summer with the Mavs. This next year he would be making $27.3 million, and then as the contract goes on, the money goes up. So his health is really, really important, and his hand is the first thing that people were worried about after the ACL tear. Now, you look at what Porzingis did back in 2017, 2018. People are asking, is he really worth this max contract? Are we even sure he's healthy? Well, when he is healthy, you can see what he does on the basketball court. Nearly 23 points per game, 6 rebounds, 2.4 blocked shots, which is huge for the Dallas Mavericks, who have no rim protection whatsoever. And then he can stretch the floor as well as a nearly 40% shooter from beyond the arc at 7'3". Kristaps Porzingis is 110% worth this max contract that the Dallas Mavericks are likely going to be offering him this summer. The money goes up, but Porzingis is on board for quite some time with him and Luka Doncic at the helm of your team. So he and Luka, which one will lead the Mavericks in scoring next season? Will it be Luka Doncic or will it be Kristaps Porzingis? Obviously, Luka will be the guy with the ball in his hands, making all the plays, deciding what to do. But Porzingis is a scorer. I mean, Luka can just feed him and lob him any alley-oop, and he's going to put it down. So which one is going to lead the Mavs in scoring next year? Type L if you think it's going to be Luka Doncic, the Rookie of the Year, or type K if you think it's going to be Kristaps Porzingis. Who we're sticking with in this next story, reports coming out from New York, from Steve Mills, the president of the Knicks, that Kristaps Porzingis gave them an ultimatum back in September. He said, hey, look guys, you better trade me or I'm going back to Europe. Trade me in 7 days, trade me in a week. Now, that didn't happen. He didn't get moved within a week, but he also didn't go back to Europe. He did get traded to the Mavs in February. The Knicks reportedly fielded a lot of offers for him, and he ended up with the Dallas Mavericks. Now, what I'm thinking here is when he said he's going to go back to Europe, he meant he's going to go back to Europe and rehab that ACL injury, because the Knicks didn't like that he was doing that in the summer. I don't believe that Kristaps Porzingis was planning to go back to Europe to play basketball. He's staying in the NBA, and you can see now he's staying in the NBA with the Dallas Mavericks. You look back at that trade, the Dallas Mavericks sent out Dennis Smith Jr., Tim Hardaway Jr., Courtney Lee, excuse me. They sent out Dennis Smith Jr., DeAndre Jordan, Wesley Matthews, and then 2 future first-round picks in return for, of course, Porzingis, Tim Hardaway Jr., Courtney Lee, and then Trae Burke, who is entering free agency. You got to think, was this deal really worth it for the Knicks? I mean, I don't know what other things they had on the table. Was this really the best they could get? It seemed rushed at the time, and it obviously was, because Porzingis was giving him, saying, hey, I'm going back to Europe if you don't send me somewhere else. But now the question becomes, who's going to win this trade? And that starts with who has more wins next season. If you think it's going to be the Dallas Mavericks, I want you to put DAL in the comment section below. If you think it's going to be the New York Knicks, put NYK in the comment section below. Whichever one you think is going to have more wins in the 2019-2020 season. Sticking with Mavs rumors here, Jimmy Butler flying to Dallas. He puts it up on his Instagram story, up in the air. He says, Dallas, we're on the way. Now, Jimmy Butler was born in Houston, Texas, so that's likely why he flew into DFW, but we have to at least speculate, right? I mean, it's the NBA offseason. Free agency is flying. We got to at least talk about it. So you look at what Jimmy Butler did in his time with the Philadelphia 76ers, nearly putting up 19 points per game, pulling down 5 rebounds, and dishing out 4 assists while shooting 35% from 3. Jimmy Butler is absolutely going to be demanding a max contract this summer. but there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be on his tail. So you look at some of the teams that might be interested in Jimmy Butler. Now, there's no reports here. This is who I believe is going to be interested in Jimmy Butler. You look at Philadelphia is going to want him back. Zero doubt about that. They're going to do everything they can to bring him back. The Brooklyn Nets make a lot of sense. They have the max money. You pair him next to D'Angelo Russell. Things get interesting in Brooklyn. Stay in New York. The Knicks, they got so much cap space. They have so many ideas with what they want to do with it. Jimmy Butler might be a backup plan, but he's not a bad backup plan. And then his hometown team, the Houston Rockets, they don't have the cap space for him right now. But something tells me if Jimmy Butler said, hey, Houston, I want to come there, I want to play for my hometown team, they're going to figure out a way to make that work. And then number 5, the Dallas Mavericks, they have the space to offer a max contract. They're missing a great wing defender, and that's exactly what Jimmy Butler is. You look at a potential lineup with Jimmy Butler in it, you got Jalen Brunson, who arguably got snubbed from that second all-rookie team. And then you look at Jimmy Butler at the 2 guard, Luka Doncic, the Rookie of the Year at small forward. You put a rim-rolling center in like Dwight Powell at the 5, and then Kristaps Porzingis, who's fine, by the way. We just talked about it. His hand is fine, in at power forward. And you got a pretty solid team, especially if Jimmy Butler is your third option on offense. He becomes your best defender, and he becomes an extra scorer on the offensive end. So that's Jimmy Butler. That's just one free agent rumor. But you can get all of your free agent rumors at youtube.com/chatsportstv if you're subscribed. You got to make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a single thing. And I'm hearing from a source connected to somebody outside the NBA, inside the NBA, we don't know, that if you subscribe to Chat Sports, all of your favorite free agents are going to sign with all your favorite teams. That's just what I'm hearing. So go subscribe to Chat Sports today. Now, another free agent that Dallas might be looking at, Tobias Harris. Small forward, power forward for the Philadelphia 76ers, traded from the Los Angeles Clippers mid-season. Reports surfaced from the Philadelphia Inquirer that there are multiple teams interested in Tobias Harris, and Dallas was on that list. Now, you look at what Tobias did with the 76ers, made an immediate impact for this team at 20 points per game, pulling down nearly 8 rebounds, which actually surprised me, dishing out about 3 assists, and then shooting it from nearly 40% from beyond the arc. He can knock down an open three-pointer or a contested three-pointer at times as well. Now, it came out a while ago that Dallas was interested, but this is coming from a guy within Philadelphia, so you got to think there's even more to this report. The Dallas Mavericks have a glaring hole at the forward position. Justin Jackson is the only small forward under contract next year right now. Now, Dorian Finney-Smith, he's a restricted free agent. Guys like Maxi Kleber, a power forward, more or less, he's a restricted free agent. But right now, Justin Jackson's all they have, so Tobias Harris could absolutely fill that role for them in the starting 5. But the Mavs aren't the only team interested. You also look at teams like the Kings, the Indiana Pacers, the Utah Jazz, and the Brooklyn Nets are also interested. And then, of course, Philadelphia wants to bring him back as a part of that core. But could be a swing and a miss for the Philadelphia 76ers if they shift all their focus toward Jimmy Butler, because Tobias Harris said what he's looking for this summer is team basketball, loyalty on both sides, and then a winning culture. I'd say the Dallas Mavericks can offer him that if you really look at it. So again, that's the 5 teams that are interested in Tobias Harris per this report. The Mavs need a forward. Which free agent forward should the Dallas Mavericks be targeting this summer? Obviously, everybody wants Kevin Durant. He is the star forward that everyone will be targeting. But realistically, give me some players, some forwards that you could see the Mavericks targeting this summer. Now let's go to some social mailbag. I want to answer some questions from you guys. I want to talk to you guys on social media, on YouTube. This coming from Your Space Heater. He says, make a case for Jimmy Butler. So we just talked about Jimmy Butler. I want to make a case for and make a case against Jimmy Butler. You make a case for him because the Dallas Mavericks need defense and they need somebody else to score the ball. It can't just be Luka. It can't just be Porzingis if they actually want to make a push in the Western Conference playoffs. Jimmy Butler offers that third option on the scoring end, and he immediately becomes the Mavs' their best wing defender. Now, a case against is the fact that Jimmy Butler has had some attitude problems. And that worries me because you have 2 really young guys in Porzingis, in Luka Doncic, and if you bring in a Jimmy Butler and he all of a sudden makes things toxic, things get scary in Dallas. So that's my case for, that's my case against. I'm not going to say no if Jimmy Butler says he wants to come to Dallas. Now, Moving over to Twitter. Moving over to YouTube. M4XD0NY3 says he never misses a vid. And we appreciate that. We appreciate all of our watchers, our loyal subscribers to Chat Sports. So if you comment, let us know if you never miss a video as well, and you might get a shout out on the next video. Now, this next one coming from Philip Ramirez on Twitter. He tweeted at me at all_things_Mavs. You can get all my Mavs content on that Twitter. He said, "What's up with Dwight Powell? I really wanted to keep him." I'll tell you what's up with Dwight Powell. Now, Dwight Powell opted out of his player option for $10.2 million. And a lot of fans, especially casual NBA fans, were like, who is Dwight Powell and why is he opting out of $10 million? Well, he logged career highs in points per game, blocks per game, and his field goal percentage. And not only that, but Mark Cuban already made it really clear to everybody in DFW that they want to extend Dwight Powell, and for good reason. We saw after the trade that he stepped his game up a ton, became one of the most consistent players for the Dallas Mavericks, and showed that he can be a starter in the NBA for a quality basketball team. Now, I already mentioned he's got the career high in points per game at 10.6. Blocks per game, only 0.6. He's just not a shot blocker. That's just not what he does, but it's still a career high for him. And then field goal percentage at nearly 60%. That's because almost everything for Dwight Powell is coming from around the rim. If you watch him, you know he loves to catch lobs. But here's why. Let me tell you why he opted out of his player option. Now, Brian Windhorst talked about this on a DFW radio station. He said, let me say something about Dallas. Something is brewing. They've got somebody in their crosshairs. The Mavs are up to something. And then he went on to mention how once Dwight Powell opted out of this player option, people's noses went up in the air. They started to suspect something is up in Dallas. Why? Because Dwight Powell opting out of that deal gives the Mavs a lot more cap space. And once they get their marquee guys, once they get their big name free agents, then they can go ahead and extend Dwight Powell. I don't think he's probably going to get around the same amount of money and then just get more years. He does turn 27 this summer, so he can get one more long-term contract. But I want to know what you guys think. Should the Mavericks extend Dwight Powell? Likely for 3 to 4 years, so you get him into his 30s. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Dwight Powell is one of the hardest workers on this team. He's a great lob threat. He's shown that he can also play defense. So what do you guys think? I want to know in the comments section below. Now let's wrap this show up with some good news, and that's Luka Doncic making the all-rookie first team unanimously selected, one of 2 players selected unanimously to that team. He led all rookies in points per game, second in total points, and he is also one of the 3 finalists along with Trae Young and DeAndre Ayton for the Rookie of the Year award. I've already been preaching it this whole show. I've been preaching it on my Twitter since Luka stepped into the league that he is the Rookie of the Year. But you look at these other guys on the first team, all rookie. Point guard, Trae Young, swapped obviously for Luka Doncic. You see him there at 2. Marvin Bagley, the forward for the Sacramento Kings. Jaren Jackson Jr., the big man for the Memphis Grizzlies, who suffered an injury but should come back strong. And then DeAndre Ayton for the Phoenix Suns. The top 5 picks in the NBA draft. The top 5, they got them all right because there they all are on the first team, all rookie. But now this debate is becoming between the 2 unanimous picks to the first all-team. Luka Doncic versus Trae Young for Rookie of the Year. And let me tell you right now, it's not a debate. Look at the numbers. 22.7 points per game for Luka Doncic. That's more than Trae Young. 7.8 rebounds per game. That's way more than Trae Young. 6 assists per game. Lower than Trae Young, yes, but still showed that he can dish the ball out while scoring the points and while pulling down the rebounds. You saw what he did getting triple-doubles all season long. Shooting 43% from the field, which is better than Trae Young, and shooting 32.7 from beyond the three-point arc, which was better than Trae Young. So what does that tell you? He's the Rookie of the Year. There's just no debate about it. But if you guys want to debate, if you guys want to get into it, put it in the comment section below. Let me know who will win Rookie of the Year this year. If you think it's Luka Doncic, I'll agree with you down there in the comment section below. If you think it's anyone else, I'll get into a debate with you as well. Put it in the comment section below. Thank you guys, and I'll be sure to talk to you next time.